Minnesota Vikings. Head coach Kevin O'Connell once again comes from the Rams, Sean McVay system, which is good. So I don't know how he's gonna do it. I just know he's an offensive mind. He's bright. So we're gonna see how he, you know, see what he implements. Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is a quality starting quarterback. I really only thing is, he needs pieces around him, like everybody does. But he's good, man. And he's kind of one of those quarterbacks you gotta pay because you're like, if I don't pay you, I don't have anybody. I can't depend on Kellen Mond to throw to Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. So Kirk Cousins has been like that his whole career, and he's 9 times out of 10 he's going to be a top 15 quarterback, and that's good in the NFL, man. That's good. Running backs, my man Dalvin Cook. I had him last year on my fantasy, but we're not talking about that. He's a good running back. He's bringing enthusiasm, toughness. He switched his number, I think, to his number in college. And then not only that, they have Madison, and Madison is a perfect complement to Dalvin Cook. And their receiving core, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and KJ Osborne. They say KJ Osborne is having a phenomenal camp. Jefferson said he is the best receiver in the league. I don't know if I'll argue that much, right? You got Devontae, Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase, but Justin Jefferson is in a conversation of the top 5 receiver, hands down, and has been like that. He's gotten better every year. Every year. So he's gonna get better this year. He said he wants to be better this year. So then you have Adam Thielen, man, the old vet who I think was hurt last year, and I think he's gonna have he's loving the camp. They said that the offense is gonna be different and they're gonna thrive in it. So watch out. Tight end, Irv Smith. He's been questionable and hurt, but I think he's a quality tight end. And I like him. Offensive line is going to be key, though. Can Christian Darrisaw make the next step? Because protecting Kirk Cousins is key, right? Making running lanes for Dalvin Cook is key. So we're going to see how the offensive line holds up. But I think that's something to watch for during the season. Now, their defense, they're switching to a 3-4. Which is very interesting. But I think they have the pieces to do it, right? Dalvin Tomlinson is going to hold down. He's been holding down the middle of their defense in training camp. He's been balling out. Then you have Daniel Hunter, who was the edge rusher anyway. So to me, when you have a 3-4 edge rusher and then you have a 4-3 edge rusher, as long as they stay there, I think they're good. If you can rush the passer, you can rush the passer. If you're standing up, if you're standing up or or with your hand in the ground, I think if you're a 3-4 or 4-3, I think you're a good pass rusher. If you're a good pass rusher, you can beat any system, and I think Daniel Hunter's a good pass rusher. Their linebackers, I think they're going to be good. I like Jordan Hicks and Eric Kendricks. They're on the same accord in training camp, which is very important for linebackers because linebackers have to communicate, and most times the linebackers are the quarterback of the defense. So they have to communicate top, which is good. Cornerback, Patrick Peterson, man. What a great guy. He's still there. Great cornerback, professional, still holding down, man. And then you got they like Andre Booth Jr. Andre Booth Jr. is having a really good camp. Watch out for him. On the other corner position. And then you got the safeties, man. Harrison Smith and Lewis Sign, who moved from corner to safety last year. They're having a phenomenal camp, and their defense is looking a lot better than previous years. So I am picking. I think Minnesota goes to playoffs. I do because of the new coach. You don't know what your offense looks like, and their offense is. You have an offensive minded coach going to an offensive dominant side. So now all they need is the offensive line to protect Kirk Cousins and the defense to get stops. You got Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins, Adam Thielen. You're straight, and they were in so many close games last year. And I feel like this year they're going to be able to turn it. Sometimes I say you need to hear a new voice in a new system. And Kirk Cousins wasn't getting along with um, Mike Zimmer. Wasn't getting along with him. So, which I find it weird. I thought they would both fit each other, but if your quarterback's not getting along with your head coach and he's on the defensive side of the ball, it's kind of hard for them to keep him because everything's trending offense. So, with all that said, guys, I have Minnesota Vikings going to the playoffs, and I have their record at 11-6. They're gonna give Green Bay some problems, man. It's not gonna be like an easy, you know. This is gonna be interesting.
Okay. Okay. The Vikings. Kevin O'Connell coming from the coaching tree of his mentor Sean McVay from the Rams. So you would think he has that offensive minded type of mentality, and it's going to be key because this group I think has underachieved. You have Kirk Cousins at quarterback, he's a mediocre quarterback, middle of the road, average, or maybe above average quarterback. But time he starts out slow and he's not producing it, and like he kind of gets going middle of the season, later in the season, or whatever it is, he starts putting up more numbers, better numbers. So with the NFC being down, obviously this would be a good time for him to do that. But you don't want to have to do that this year to kind of start slow and then try to pick it up and have your wide receivers tell you to, do more or whatever it is that they were doing a couple years ago with Adam Thielen telling them and Stephon Diggs when he was on the team. So they definitely have talent. They definitely have enough talent, I think, to make the playoffs. And this is, if any year was going to be the year that the Vikings win this division, it's this year with the Packers having to go through. I know they still have Aaron Rodgers, but they don't have any wide receiver. Their best wide receiver, I guess, is Alan Lazard. So you got the Bears and the Lions are still, even though the Bears say it's not a rebuild, it's a rebuild. So they're having to go through their issues as well. So this is a prime time for them to come out and win this division. Obviously, like I said, excuse me, Kirk Cousins, solid quarterback, can put up big numbers. He's going to have to definitely do that. He has wide receivers. He has arguably the best wide receiver in Justin Jefferson. Obviously, looking at Adam Thielen, who was hurt last year, who was kind of like one of his main go-to guys, one of his better targets that he likes to throw the ball to. He was hurt a lot of the year last year, so now he's going to be back 100%. And it's just one more piece that you have that you can throw the ball to. KJ Osborne gets a little bit more run. He's still young, but him paired with those two guys, especially Justin Jefferson, he's basically unguardable. I think he's already at worst top 5, probably top 3 wide receiver.
Top 5, man. Like easy.
You can't even go wrong with that. So there's no excuse why. Once again, like last year, there's no excuse why on paper this team can't put up numbers. And the running backs, obviously, Dalvin Cook, obviously the biggest thing for him is to stay healthy. But even if he's not healthy, you still have Madison who can come in, and he's a good spellback. He's a good number 2. He's a good guy that can come in when Cook is out. He can put up numbers regardless. But you rather have Dalvin Cook in there because he's more explosive. He's just a better back. But I mean, this offensive unit, I mean, if everybody stays healthy, they should put up numbers. They should be one of the top 5, I would assume, offensive teams in the NFL. Irv Smith he's okay as a tight end. Nothing too special. It's not like they really rely on him to catch, I don't know, 70 passes or anything like that. But he should be somewhat serviceable for this team. The offensive line is okay. Like you said, we're still waiting for Christian Darrisaw to take that next leap. They took him high in the draft, or took him first round, I should say. So they really are expecting big things from him, especially since he's the left tackle. He's like the blind spot guy. So they need him out there stopping anything. So, and Kirk Cousins needs all. I ain't gonna say Kirk Cousins needs all the help he can get, but he does need some help out there to protect him, so he can make some plays with those guys, those dynamic guys that he has out there. On the defensive side looks pretty good. I mean, at least on paper. I mean, you're looking at the linebackers, Hendricks, Hicks, and Smith. If you can stay healthy, if Hicks can play like he did a few years ago, and Kendricks usually plays really well anyway. Then you have Daniel Hunter on the front three, or actually I think he's a linebacker as well, as they play at 3-4. So we have Daniel Hunter as well. I mean, I think he can rush the passer as well. Harrison Phillips is solid. Looking at the secondary, the two pieces that you would think of, Harrison Smith and Patrick Peterson, like, I don't know, 5 years ago, they were like the best at their position, or considered some of the best at their position. I think they're still up there in that realm, but they're not the same as they used to be, because they're a lot older.
Yeah.
So I like the linebackers. I think they're like a top 5, top 3 unit in the NFL if they can stay healthy, at least on paper. Their corner, or the secondary, it could be middle of the road just because of the age. I think if Harrison Smith and Patrick Peterson were 5 years younger or 6 years younger, man, this could be one of the better secondaries in the NFL.
Yeah.
Their 2 best players are just up there in age right now. But I like the Vikings. I like their chances this year, especially because like you said, all the time, like in the NFL, there's always teams that make the playoffs that don't make it the next year, and teams that don't make the playoffs that do. So I can definitely see this team who didn't make the playoffs last year bust through the wall and make the playoffs this year. They definitely have talent on both sides of the ball. They definitely have everything that you would want as far as an explosive offense, and pieces that they got on defense. It should be really good. So I have the Vikings going. I got them at 10-7, but I wouldn't be surprised if they went like 11-6.